3, then -2, then +2,
2.
then 0, and then +2 again, which tells you that it bounces there, bounces there. All right. So now in terms of like what the graph looks like, we need to know the rest of this stuff. We need to know the degree and the leading coefficient. The degree, it was a fourth degree, and then there was this x squared minus 2x. We talked last week how you basically grab the x to the fourth and the x squared to make x to the sixth. That's the degree, power of 6.
Got it. Yeah, so you just add up
All
all
right.
the exponents in this case because it's
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, good. Right, then the leading coefficient would be 1.
Yeah. So when it's when it's even, it starts high and it ends high, and it's good to
Yeah.
kind of draw those arrows.
Yeah, I think she gave us a table to memorize where it was if it's even and if it's even and the leading coefficient, or if it's even and positive, then it goes up and up. The two end
Yeah,
points are up. And if it's negative, it goes down, down, and then like it, yeah, then
right. So these are both positive infinities. And then at each of these points except for 2 that it crosses. So we come down, cross, come up, cross, cross. At 2 though, it bounces, so it comes
bounces, so
back down.
and then cross.
Yeah. All right. That's the extent of the graph. To get the y-intercept, you have to put 0 in for x. And because it crosses at 0, the y-intercept is also 0. Because it
Got it.
crosses at 0.
So whenever it crosses that 0, it automatically means that the
Yeah,
y-intercept would
right.
be 0.
Otherwise, you put 0 back in the original, 0 to the 4th, 0 squared plus 36 times 0 squared minus 2 times 0.
Got it.
I believe that's everything on this one.
All right. The next one that I was confused on was this one, which is the second to last question.
Okay, let's take a look at it. All right, so you got to factor both of these to start. Why don't you try that first for us, please?
All right, when I factored the first one, x squared plus x minus 2, I got x plus 2 and x minus 1.
Very good. And for the second one?
For the second one, I got x minus 5 and x plus 1.
For the second one, it's x plus 5, not minus 5. The reason is that 4 is positive, so it's got to be bigger. 5 plus -1 gets you to positive 4.
Got it.
So that's good. That gets you all the zeros.
Yeah,
You'll notice that, and again, I can't emphasize enough, graph as you go. Don't wait to graph. You've got, well, this one doesn't ask for the zeros, but you've got the zero at -2,
yeah.
+1, +1 again. So that's a double, and then -5.
So then at the 1 is where it would bounce, and then the other two would be
Yeah, so
crossing.
what I use, so you can kind of draw these, crosses or bounces. I use the kind of the U as the bouncing to connect, but to decide, you need to know the end behavior, which means you need to know the degree. So it's an x to the squared, x squared times x squared. That's an x to the fourth or power of 4.
And the leading coefficient here would be -3.
It is, yeah, it is negative.
So it's
So a,
even
a
and negative.
four, a four normally starts high and ends high, but because it's negative, it starts low and ends low.
Wait, wouldn't it? Oh, wait, never mind. I was thinking of odd. Yeah, it would be the same way. So it would be up, down, so cross through
So yeah, so it comes up,
two,
crosses, crosses,
bounce,
bounces.
and then goes down.
Yeah. And this also gives you the end behavior now.
Yeah, because it's negative and negative infinity. Both of them are negative
Yeah.
infinity.
Negative infinity like that. Very good.
The next one is kind of similar to that. It's the P4.
Okay. Um, so these are a little bit new. The first one is a GCF. It's GCF is x squared. And then you get x squared minus 1. What kind of factoring is that? X squared minus 1.
X squared minus 1 would be a difference of squares. So
That's
you would,
right.
so yeah, it'd be, think x squared and then x plus 1, x minus 1.
Good. Now the second one is grouping. You and I have not done a grouping problem, at least as far as I can remember. Do you remember how to do the grouping?
Yeah, I think you would, for the first one, you would take out x squared and then make it x minus 4, and then you would put that over there, and then you would put minus 1 outside of it. And then,
Good.
yeah.
Good. You have to keep going though. You have to
Yeah,
keep,
yeah, and then you would do x minus 4, then x squared minus 1, and then x squared minus 1 is still perfect for difference of squares. So you do x plus
yeah.
minus 1, yeah.
And you can almost lose track of everything that you've got, but it ends up being, and I mean, I would tell you at some point to combine like the degrees. So it's x
Yeah,
squared, x minus 4, but x minus 1 to the power of 2 because you've got
yeah,
those, and then x plus 1 also to the power of 2 because of those two.
yeah,
And
because
then you've got that -5 in front. Good.
yeah, I think that's what we did in the notes. Like she at the last step in that top box there, she just had us rewrite it into one equation where it had any if it was like the same term like x minus 1 twice, she just had us rewrite it as x minus 1 squared. That way we know it's a bounce. Like whatever, when we see it, we know that it's a bounce because it's squared. So yeah, I think that's probably the last step that you'd have to do is combining it. So 5x.
Okay, so the zeros, that's where you've got to make sure you know the zeros. There's one at 0. That's the x squared.
Then there's one at
4.
4, 1, and then -1.
Yeah, and at 1 and -1, it bounces. We don't know if it bounces. At 0, it also bounces. A lot of bouncing. And then same at 1, bounces. All right, so the next thing would be the degree. Probably almost easier to go back to the original. You got an x to the 4th times an x cubed.
Wouldn't it be
What does that
7
become? Yeah, x to the
for the
7th or 7, just the 7 is all I want there. So that's odd, but it's a negative leading coefficient.
so odd and negative would be ending negative. So it starts off positive or it starts off up, but then it ends down there. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Then
you
it
got to
goes
show it kind of
bounces,
bouncing,
bouncing,
bouncing, bouncing,
and
and then
then
crossing.
crossing. And then for the end behavior, you just put that it's positive, negative, infinity and negative infinity.
Got it.
I think we should do some more practice with this, maybe some more problems. I don't think I have any more problems though. Maybe if you can make some problems and then we could practice that a little bit more.
Sure.
All right, so I think let's do some practice. More practice with that.
You have another question you can send over?
I think we'll just go ahead and practice any. I don't have any
Oh, I'm
any
sorry.
questions.
I was truly waiting for you to send something over.
Yeah,
Okay,
no problem.
let me make something up here. Why don't you try this one for us, please?
Um, all right, so I ended up factoring it. So at the end, I got -2, yeah, x plus 3, x minus 3, then x minus 2, x minus 1, and
So a
x
lot
minus.
of yeah, a lot of duplication here. Sometimes you write them in like order, some sort of order here. Um, I think you got two of those. I'm sorry, there's a three there. Two of the ones, plus ones. Does that look
Oh, I
right?
think I think I knew where I got wrong. For the middle one, I put x minus 2 and x minus 1, but yeah, that probably wouldn't work if you add it. It would be x minus 2, x plus 1. Yeah.
Right. So what is the degree and what is the leading?
The degree is 8, and
It's not eight, it's six. You add them.
oh yeah, it's gonna be
Plus there's
6.
six of these. So, but not that that would change it.
And then the leading coefficient would be -2.
Okay, so this one starts low and ends
Okay.
low. Try. So like at
All
I
right.
got
So,
3, 1,
uh,
-1.
so it's -3, 3, 2, 1, and then -1. And the y-intercept would be 0, comma, -27.
Oh yeah, we haven't done it. Yeah, so they sometimes do want you to label that, which I have not been emphasizing, but you can see here that at -1 it bounces.
Yeah, it bounces at 3 and -1.
Yeah. Okay. I think I found some factoring problems here. Sorry, these are hard to find because they typically don't come in this sort of like like sort of half factored form. And they're, typically not like this heavy in the degree. So give me just a moment here to find some. Anything else that you think is going to be on this
So let me
test that
actually pull up
we need
the
to look
review
at?
because she did give us a review. So let me pull that up really quickly. All right, let me put the review into the chat. Maybe we can pick some problems off of there, probably. I think that she doesn't do a ton of, you don't do any of these problems though in there. So there are some from other lessons that it's probably going to go over. So
Yeah, I can make these up. Um, but this is probably better. Just go to the end here. I mean, have you done all of these or just, well, some of these aren't, some of these are not that
yeah,
similar.
yeah,
They're not, it's
yeah.
like, I guess I can combine a couple of these on here. Okay, so here, I'll make one up here. X to the fourth plus 5x cubed minus 8x minus 40. X squared minus 25 times x cubed -5.
So is that, wait, is that a 5 before the x cubed?
Yes,
All
5x cubed, yes.
right. Wait, wouldn't you need to factor the x cubed minus 8?
You do, unfortunately, yeah. And it becomes kind of a mess. Now the other parts don't actually contribute to uh like it's not like it all of a sudden becomes a um a zero, but it is there. All you're trying to do with this is get to the zeros.
Do you have to further factor the trinomial there?
No, because you can't. This is unfactorable.
Oh, that's what I was trying to do right now. That's what I kind of got back there. That's why I kind of. Wouldn't there be, and then the 5x cubed would be on the outside, so then
So the graph on this, what happens when it's a cube? Is that a cross or a touch?
it's, isn't it snake through or something like that?
It's a cross. It's not exactly like an X, but it does kind of snake through. Yeah. I don't know how your instructor is. At 2, it's a cross. -5 is a touch or a bounce. And 5, it's a cross.
Yeah, she kind of said that like 3 or any other odd number would, other than 1, would be a cross, but like the like almost like a snake kind of, and then 1 would be the cross, and then 2 or anything else even would be the I think it is the bounce.
Right.
Um, X cubed X plus 4x.
Okay. Any questions on that?
No, I think I got it now.
Okay. So I'm still kind of struggling with what uh to do next. Do you have any ideas? I mean, did you get any hints of what the graph could be?
Um, why don't we try, I think it's on slide 10, I think on there. On the review, it's like the one that's g of x equals negative x to the fourth plus 5x squared minus 6. Why don't we try that? I don't think, because I think up until now, I think you've done like one or two of them like this. Most of them have been with the parentheses that you can just add the degrees of, I think.
Give me that one more time. What was the function?
Here, let me just put it into
Or
the
you can drop it in the
chat.
chat.
Yeah, let me just put it into the chat. Uh, this, well,
Yeah, so this, I mean, these are not as difficult as the ones we are doing originally because they're already sort of like in the standard form, which you could read off the degree. The degree is 4, and it's the highest exponent.
so
The
when
leading
so
cove.
whenever so whenever it's in the factored parentheses form, then it's you have to add up the exponents, and
Yes,
then whenever it's
exactly.
in standard form, it's the greatest exponent or the first exponent that's up there,
Yes.
or the greatest. Yeah, okay, got it. The leading coefficient. And then, so in this case, n behavior would be it's even and it's negative, so it's down, down. So it would be
But the thing is we can factor this. Um, like I would factor the -1 out, and then it's x to the fourth minus 5x squared plus 6. And this factors into x squared and x squared minus 3 minus 2. And you don't have to know. So I don't know if this is beyond your class, but this still does factor into these square roots. Did you guys talk at all about that?
I don't think so. I had to like
Okay.
lightly touch it.
So the point is there's more roots. So it comes up, comes down. This is at -0, -6, like that. And then you can do the end behavior.
The end behavior would be as x goes to positive infinity, f of x would be negative infinity.
Yeah,
Then as x goes to negative infinity, f of x would go to negative infinity.
yeah. Right, good. All right. If you have some time, maybe, look over your notes in the morning. Um, there's not a ton you can do between now and the exam. Um, any other questions or thoughts?
I don't think so. I think yeah, all I have questions answered.
All right, well, we can stop here for today. So we're all set for Thursday.